Greetings! Welcome back to another installment of the Comic Hunters Board Game of the Month for May 2014 with your devoted hosts, the Beastmen War Party. This month, we are taking a look at a game that fanboys have been awaiting for a long time, a space western epic of job hunting, credits racking, and sudden but inevitable betrayal called Firefly, the game. We won't go into details unfortunately because we just got cancelled. We are the Beastmen War Party, reminding you that the important thing is not to win.
But seriously,
this dice-rolling pick-up and delivery space race for 1 to 4 players is designed by Sean Swigart and Aaron Dill of Gale Force 9. They are the makers of other TV show-based games such as the surprise hit Spartacus, A Game of Blood, and the upcoming Son of Anarchy, Men of Mayhem. It can be played within 2 hours depending on the amount of players. Hey look, it's Steve the Pirate.
who?
Yeah, it's Steve the Pirate on box right there.
The dread pirate Steve be in no man's debt. I'll make a barter with you, true's in our star.
Firefly will have you be the captain of your own ship that would explore the verse in search of high-paying jobs and resources to help you achieve the game's chosen goal. Let's see what this game has to offer. A game board representing the area of the verse that you'll be traveling in. 4 different ship cards used as player boards. Models for the 4 Firefly ships, the Alliance Cruiser, and the Reaver Cutter. 6 story cards to ramp up the replayability. A whole bunch of cash.
Reach bitch! I'm a rich bitch!
5 supply decks. 5 contact decks. 1 misbehave card deck. 2 nav decks. 11 setup cards including the different captains and starting ship drive cores. 167 tokens. Warrant and gold tokens. Tokens representing pickup and delivery goods. Tokens representing parts and fuel. Tokens representing the moral of your crew. Token representing the difference between men and women. A starting player dinosaur token. Not included are funding for a second season, an actual Firefly, someone who actually watched the show to explain all the different references. To set up the game, you will first put the game board in the middle of the table. You will then set up the 5 supply decks on the left and 5 contact decks on the right. Make sure to leave enough space for a discard pile for each deck. Place the Alliance Cruiser and the Reaver Cutter in their respective starting sector. Players will then choose their leaders, ship models, ship cards, and appropriate starting drive core. The player who chose their leader last will place their ship first on any sector of the game board. It could be on the white sun, the red sun, or even the good sun. The last player to place their Firefly will start the first game turn. You now have to choose a story card. This will dictate what is needed to win the game. Some story cards will affect the setup in different ways. Give each player 6 fuel tokens and 2 parts tokens to put in their ship's cargo hold or stash as they see fit. Everyone also get 3,000 credit, which my mom always said to not spend all in one place. After receiving the initial supply, each player will take 1 job from each of the contact decks. You then discard down to 3, which is your maximum hand size. Once the jobs are chosen, discard the top 3 cards of each supply decks, which will now be available to buy. Those cards may help you in deciding where to head for first. Now for the actual gameplay. Each player can take 2 of 4 possible actions, never taking the same one twice. The actions are fly, buy, deal, and work. For the fly action, you will make your ship move from sector to sector. You can mosey along to an adjacent sector without penalty, or you can do a full burn action instead, which requires you to discard a fuel token and move a number of sectors equal to the power of your ship's drive core. This will also require you to draw a nav card each time you advance 1 sector. Each card you draw must be resolved immediately before you can do anything else. Some of the nav cards, as well as the other cards, may require you to do a skill test to pass through. Those skill tests are represented by one of the 3 skill icons: Fight, Tech, or Negotiate, followed by a small dice and a number. That number is the result you must roll with a single die, to which you will add any skill points provided by your captain, crew members, and gear. The outcome of the encounter is determined by your result. While moving during a fly action, you may encounter one of the 2 roaming ships, the Alliance Cruiser and the Reaver Cutter. If at any time you are in the same space as one of those ships, you will need to immediately resolve their corresponding contact event. The Cruiser will hit you for any illegal activities conducted on your ship, and the Cutter will simply tear you a new one.
Wong Ba Dan.
For the buy action, your ship will need to be on one of the 5 supply planets. When you take a buy action, you take a combination of 3 cards from the discard pile and the top of the deck. You can buy up to 2 of them and discard the rest. Those cards can either be some upgrades to your ship, some additional crew members, or some gear cards to equip your personnel. You can also buy fuel and parts anytime you do a buy action on one of the 5 supply sectors. The next action, Deal, is taken when you want additional jobs. You will need to be in a sector containing one of the 5 contact planets. Just like supply cards, you will draw a combination of 3 cards from the previously discarded jobs and or top of the contact deck. You can keep up to 2, respecting your maximum hand size of 3, and discard the rest. Those jobs, well completed, will reward you with some credits. Once you complete a job for a certain contact, you will then be solid with them, being able to sell them cargo and contraband for additional profits. Last and certainly not least is the work action. Each job has a starting location, pickup locations for delivery jobs, and target locations for crimes. To start a job, you will need to be on that specific sector. You then take the job card from your hand and place it on the left of your shipboard. That job is now active. You can have a maximum of 3 active jobs on the board, which do not count towards your maximum hand size. You will follow certain steps to complete a job. First, you will equip your crew with the gear you have at your disposition. You don't have to use all the gear you possess, and may swap the gear between your crew. Once this is done, you cannot modify your gear until the end of the work action. You then have to confirm needs. You will do this by identifying the required skills and keywords, the later which will be found on certain supply cards. The next step is to do the job. You will now have to transport passengers and goods for delivery jobs, or misbehave if doing illegal jobs. To misbehave, you will draw the number of misbehave cards pictured on the job and resolve them all one by one. Failed misbehave cards can result in either a botched attempt or a warrant being issued on your ship, completely terminating the active job. If the job is successful, you receive your pay. Collect the credits from the bank and put the job card face up underneath the top of your shipboard. This will show that your reputation is now solid with that contact and will grant you special perks. Watch for job bonuses that are listed on the card. You get the additional credits if at least one of your crew members has that specific keyword. You now have to pay your crew's salary, which is the same amount as the respective cost. If you cannot or simply don't want to pay some or any of them, they become disgruntled. Be careful, as disgruntled crew can be hired by your opponents or even right off, leaving a trail of flip tables along the way. The first person to complete all the goals on the story card wins the game. Don't forget that you can get your very own copy of Firefly at 25% off for the whole month of May at Comic Hunter in Moncton, where heroes come to play. Make sure to give them a visit and see their incredible selection of board games. We are the Beastmen War Party, reminding you that the important thing is not to win. It's to have fun and then win.
Cut mayonnaise.
We'll be together